Have you ever noticed that in some families, one child seems to grow up much faster than everyone else? Not because they wanted to, because life quietly asked them to. They become the helper, the responsible one, the second parent, the example. And one day, they wake up realizing they don't remember what it felt like to simply be a child. People admire children who seem mature. They smile and say, "She's so responsible. She's wise beyond her years. She's such a good girl." But sometimes, what looks like maturity is actually a childhood being traded away. Grace was only 8 years old the first time her mother handed her her baby brother and said, "Watch him for me. I'll be back soon." She smiled proudly. She felt important, like she had been trusted with something special. She didn't know that would become her new normal. Soon she wasn't just watching him. She was feeding him, bathing him, helping him sleep. By the time she was 10, she knew how to cook simple meals. Not because she loved cooking, because everyone else was busy. Whenever visitors came, they smiled and said, "What a wonderful daughter." "Your parents must be so proud." Grace smiled politely. She liked hearing it. What she didn't realize was that every compliment was slowly convincing her that love had to be earned by being useful. Outside, children played together, laughed, ran through the neighborhood, argued over games. Grace watched them through the window while washing plates. Sometimes she wanted to join them. Then she'd hear, "Grace!" and she'd answer, "I'm coming." By the time she was a teenager, she had become the family expert. She knew where everything was. She remembered everyone's birthdays. She reminded her father about appointments. If something went wrong, people called Grace. If someone forgot, Grace remembered. If someone cried, Grace comforted them. She helped her younger siblings with homework. Everyone depended on her. Nobody noticed she was still just a child. Years passed. Grace became known as the strong one. Teachers admired her discipline. Friends admired her maturity. Family admired her reliability. But strength has a quiet price. Because when people believe you're always strong, they stop asking if you're tired. College came. For the first time, Grace lived away from home. She thought life would finally feel lighter. Instead, something strange happened. Whenever she rested, she felt guilty. Whenever she said no, she apologized. Whenever someone needed help, she dropped everything, even when she was exhausted. She didn't know how to choose herself, because for years choosing herself had never been an option. One afternoon, a friend asked, "Grace, when was the last time you did something just because it made you happy?" Grace laughed, then stopped. She honestly couldn't remember. That question followed her home. She sat quietly that night, thinking about the little girl who always hurried to help everyone else. Then another realization came. Nobody had ever sat her down and said, "Your childhood is over now." It hadn't disappeared all at once. It had disappeared one responsibility at a time, one babysitting request, one household chore, one sacrifice, one expectation. Until one day being needed had become her identity, and suddenly everything made sense. She wasn't tired because she worked hard. She was tired because she had spent her whole life believing her value came from carrying everyone else. Sometime later, Grace visited home. Her younger siblings were adults now. The house was quieter. Her mother smiled. "You've always been my strong girl." Grace smiled back. But this time she answered gently, "I'm trying to learn how to just be your daughter again." Her mother looked at her, confused at first. Then her eyes filled with tears. For the first time they talked. Not about chores. Not about responsibilities, they talked about Grace. About everything she carried, about everything she never said. Healing didn't happen that day. But something important did. Grace finally put down a weight she had been carrying since childhood. And maybe that's the lesson. Some children don't lose their childhood because someone wanted to hurt them. Sometimes life simply asks too much of them too early. They become the dependable one, the mature one, the strong one, until they forget they were once supposed to be just children. So if you are the child who grew up too soon, here's something you may need to hear today. You don't have to earn your worth by carrying everyone. It's okay to rest. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to choose yourself sometimes, because even the strongest shoulders were never meant to carry everything alone. And if this story reminded you of someone, or perhaps it reminded you of yourself, share it with them. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is the permission to finally put the weight down. Because healing doesn't begin when life stops asking things of you. It begins when you realize you were never meant to carry the whole world alone.